Challenge to Build. My name is Paul Michael. Welcome to the garage and to the continuation of the build on the 1959 Chevy Viking pickup dump bed that we're involved in building. The pre-roll video that you saw was some of the work that I've been doing off camera to prepare for today's video. Some of that work has been cutting and drilling some of the angle iron that we're going to attach to the bed right now. Some of it also consisted of cutting some of the pieces needed for the actual framework for the dumping mechanism, consisting of two heavy-duty quarter-inch plate hinge brackets that we are going to drill and attach to the framework. Some of it also consisted of cutting the bushes needed for the actual barrel part of the hinge. These are 3.5 inches. These are going to go down into the lower mounts that we welded onto the last video. And these 3/4 inch ones are actually going to get welded inside the hinge, followed by a bolt through both of them to make the hinge. Some of the other work that was completed was cutting some of the material for the framework around for the bed. I have some sheet metal prepared for the actual front panel. What I am working on right now is attaching the 1.5 eighth wall angle to the bedsides. The bedsides are 14 gauge steel plate or sheet metal that I had bent up at a local steel supply. You saw when I welded the stake pockets on, so this is the inside of the bed. The exteriors are facing down. The measurements that I took to set the bed height was based off of the measurement that I took from the frame rail, which is the dumping part, up to approximately right in where this flare is for the cab. It's right around 10 inches or so. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of leeway for a little bit of rubber because I'm going to make it so the bed will bolt onto the frame and then the frame will bolt onto the hinge of the actual truck frame. The reason I am going for that height is I'm working on a custom filler piece for the top rail of the bed, which is going to fit up in this area here, which is going to kind of cap everything off. A little custom touch that I haven't seen done before. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to finish it, but that's what Challenge to Build's about. We'll learn together and make it look custom. So right now I'm going to go back, fire up the welder, spot weld in the rails, and you'll see the bed kind of take shape probably relatively quickly. So with that, it's time to get to work, and it's time for me to challenge the build. It would help if I had the ground hooked up. I have the ground hooked up to that side, and there's no metal connecting them. How often do you do that? Go to weld something that your ground's not on. I do it more often than I should. All right, so about 20 minutes later, I have the 1/8 inch angle welded to the bed sides. The way that I did that compared to the old bed is the old bed was a mess, and that's what bothered me about that particular situation, which spurred me to build a new one. The way I went about it was I drilled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holes approximately in the angle, 1/2 inch drill bit, and then just did spot welds along the sides. There is a section in the middle that I left free because some of this is going to be sacrificial. Some of this is going to have to get cut back out because of the wheel arch. The wheel arches aren't cut in yet. So once this gets installed and centered up on the frame, I'll come back in and trace out where the tires are, cut some of this out, and then box and frame everything back in to the dump frame. So that is what we're up to here. That's what's been done. Now I'm going to get this down on the floor and weld in the front angle across the front to tie in each side. I will probably do the rear as well. So that way it'll be square and or a rectangle. I have to square it up and then weld in the front panel. So we're going to continue with the momentum and get right to it. So before I continue on in the process and y'all get nervous about the fact that you saw me welding it up without squaring it up, I'm still going to square it up. I wanted to at least tack it together so that way it would stay up and stay as one piece. I tacked the bottom corners where they go together so that way it'll allow movement left to right and a little bit back and forth. Another thing I wanted you to bring your attention to that you may have noticed in the clip was specifically at the back of the bed, there is a 2-inch open space between the actual frame and the bedside. And the reason I'm doing this is for having a recessed tailgate at the back of the truck. Normally on the 55, even all the way up through the 60s, I think the tailgate would be on the back side of the truck, they would have like a little angle piece sitting on the back, and it would be kind of on the exterior side of the tailgate, or excuse me, on the bed. This one I'm going to build and recess it inside the bed, because this bed that I'm building is not a factory size. It is a full custom bed, even down to the size of it. The actual dimensions on this bed is 82 inches long and 60 inches wide on the inside. So the frame is actually 80 inches, and then, like I said, I'm still trying to determine what kind of tailgate I'm gonna run, whether I build a factory looking one from the 55 through 60s, or I had thought about getting like a mid-70s tailgate with the recessed panel on the inside, and then just square it up on the top side, because I really like the boxiness of it, or even maybe get like an 80 square body. Still, the tailgate's still all to be determined, but that is why there's a 2-inch gap back here. I'm going to use that as the maximum thickness for the tailgate. So I might end up just having to make one. I don't know yet, but that's what that's about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to square it up, get it parallel, squared up, leveled up, or whatever you want to call it. Get it tacked together, and then put the front panel on, and it'll actually look like a pickup truck bed again. We good. Now I just got to take my square and square it this way, and kind of tack weld and double check the measurements. For anybody that's watching that doesn't necessarily know what I'm doing as far as the X measurement, in any building you want to square things up as you build them. So what you saw me doing was taking one measurement from one corner to the other corner in the same exact location, left to right or side to side, whatever you want to call it. It's critical that you use the same part of the tape measure, same side of the tape measure, measure it to the same side to the point that you're going to, and it's just a matter about incremental movements to get everything squared up. This way here, you know everything is parallel. Like I said, my measurement was 100 and an eighth, so I measured from the front left corner to the back rear corner of the frame and not the bed. Since I'm trying to square the frame up, that's what I want to be square. And that's what you saw me doing when I was taking those measurements. Now all I have to do is square up the bed sides left to right, and I'm just going to use a framing square for that, and then get everything tack welded. Final check. Liking it. You got the green light to go, 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 go. So before I go ahead and put the front bed panel on, what I'm going to do is I want to just flatten down some of the welds on these corners, because once I get them boxed in, it'll be real difficult to get in near the corner. So I'm going to flatten the welds real quick and then put the front bed panel on and continue checking square and get this thing looking like a pickup truck bed. You'll see in the front rail as well, I also did the same process for the framework. I drilled 1/2-inch holes in along the front. So this way here, once I get the sides tacked in, I'm gonna fully weld down the side, but then I'm also gonna put spot welds in along the front side to hold the panels secure. So that's what's happening right now. How many times have you done that before too? You know you're wearing a shield, but it's the wrong one. So putting this front panel in definitely is what's going to help with the squareness left to right. It's going to take a little bit of work, but I think we'll get it. Having just broken my left hand 2 months ago doesn't help in the fact that I'm trying to get this thing together, having to grip and hold really thin metal. My grip strength in my left hand definitely is not nowhere near as what it was 2 months ago, but it is slowly getting better. It's difficult to do this though. Another question is, when you're working and holding and twisting, and like once you get that position and you got everything in that sweet spot, how many of you hold your breath when you go to tack weld? Comment below and tell me. Or is it just me? Am I weird like that? Once I get everything tweaked and into position, I hold my breath until I get it tacked and the tack weld cools. I think it gives you some added strength, right? And there you have it. We have sort of a bed together, actually. It came together relatively nicely. It definitely is nice to have some of the grunt work taken care of, as far as like some of the prep that was involved in the last couple of days, cutting the angle iron, drilling the angle, getting everything prepped and ready to go. It really definitely helps in the process of building when it comes time to filming. Filming. Should become a rhyme master. Just kidding. One thing that I will mention is I am definitely no professional when it comes to doing anything like this. This is my first time really messing with any sheet metal. I'm normally a heavy metal kind of guy, just because it's more forgiving. So if anybody's watching this and you see that if you see that I'm doing something wrong, please take a minute, drop a comment in the comment section below, give me some tips and some advice on how to do this. If you saw anything that was just like a red flag to any of you experts out there that are that do sheet metal work on a daily basis, I have a feeling I'm already going to get comments on how I tack welded it, rather than tacking the top, tacking the top and the bottom. I probably should have worked because of the stretch in the metal, but the reason I did that was to hold everything together. So this is definitely going to be a learning curve when it comes to doing sheet metal work for this truck, and it's really going to be a challenge once I get involved in doing the fenders. Also, one of the things that you may see on the build on the bed sides are the actual left and right hand side. I have a 3-inch, I think they're 3-inch, where's my tape measure? Yes, I have a 3-inch top leg bent in on either side, and you can see that there is nothing on the front side, and that is because of how I'm going to build the front cap that I talked about earlier, with it being a filler piece. Actually, I can grab that now. So the front channel, or the front top cap, is going to be built after I get the bed installed onto the truck frame. This is going to be built in 2 different pieces. I have this part being the top, which is going to sit in here, and then I also have an underneath channel that is going to tie everything in together and smooth off the bottom, but it has to be built in stages. So right now, this is going to be how this is put together. I'm going to finish tack welding along the front side, down the left and right hand side, get everything ground down, cleaned up, and then probably, I've never done it before, so I'm just making it up as I go. Then what will probably happen is I will place the bed onto the truck frame, get everything centered up, and then continue with the top cap, and then spend a lot more time with the inside of the framework and getting it attached to the chassis dump bracket that we're building. And we might even end up working on the hinge mechanism. So that's about all we're going to get involved into today. The progress on the bed was smooth and relatively easy without any hiccups. Now you can kind of see the overall size and the design of the new bed. In the next episode of Challenge to Build, we are going to continue with the fabrication of the bed, specifically with the truck part of the frame. I think what we'll do is we will focus on working on the hinges and getting the frame squared up to the chassis. So that way, once that's taken care of, we can mount the bed onto it and then get the bed squared up. So a lot of squaring, a lot of welding, and a lot of fabrication left to go. I want to say thank you for watching today's episode. If you want to support Challenge to Build, go to my eBay store. There is a link in the description below. I support Challenge to Build directly off of my eBay store. So there's a whole bunch of merchandise in there that, along with some Challenge to Build merch with t-shirts. So go ahead and browse around the store. If you see anything that you like, go ahead and shoot me an offer, and we can work out a deal on anything that you see. I want to again say thank you for watching. This has been Challenge to Build. Now I want you to go out and challenge your build. My name is Paul Michael. I don't have a watch. I don't know why I looked at my wrist. All I know is it's dark outside. I'm getting hungry, and it's getting close to dinner time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.